everyone, and welcome to the Deep Dark, where we are stripping the land of its resources on multiple levels for your entertainment and for the greater good. How are you doing today? How's life? So do you notice this 2-block gap? This is the recent tunnel that I made, and this was the old one. And do you know why we have this difference? I upgraded our Terra Shatterer to tier S. That's 100 mana pools. So it does a 9 by 9 by 9. It's amazing. Last episode we spent some time in making this glowstone factory, but we did not have enough time in order to add some decorations and try to add some details to it and try to make it look nice. So what we're going to do is to add a small hole here so that it would look like this excavator is actually mining glowstone. I need to finish the structure, and the terrain is very plain. So we might add a path and some trees and vegetation. Let's see how it goes. There are not that many ores in the game which resemble glowstone, and I thought the best substitute would be yellowite, because it also glows in the dark and it's yellow. And then I thought we add a few crystals as well from Thaumcraft, the air crystal, and they might look like glowstone crystals? I don't know. I worked a little bit on the details of the glowstone factory, and I think it looks decent enough. It needs more details, but that's not the only project that we have to do this episode. We have other things to do, so for the moment I'm not picky. I'm not picky at all. I have a small access hatch here which leads to a ladder, so that if you want to go up there you can use the ladder, or of course you can just walk or fly. But it's Minecraft, so we add staircases and ladders when we don't really use them. Anyway, I have a control room for the witch farm itself, which I can turn it on and off and gather the experience. We have a fire extinguisher just in case, and we have hemp, obviously. I also made a small pathway which leads to our factory, which also requires a lot of work, but it's a start. This is a slight problem. We are generating too much mana, and I'm not consuming that much because the Terra Shatterer is at tier S and I'm not upgrading it anymore because the last tier requires like 1000 mana pools, and that's not gonna happen. So we need to spend that mana somehow. For now I think we just invest in Terra still. I heard that the prices are going up. I personally think that we are advanced enough in order to go and do some adventuring and hunt a few dragons in the process. The thing is, Ice and Fire has gone through an update and now there is a dragon forge, and since I want to make a forge, it makes sense to at least know how to make that dragon forge and have the appropriate materials so that when we want to make it, we're not short on stuff. But anyway, before we go, there are a few things that I want to do. First off, I want to make the advanced focus from Thaumcraft. I use the focus in order to make the rift, so that we can make a tunnel and peek through. Uh-oh. We are under attack. Okay. Let me get a mob imprisonment tool, please. We have an Elderich Guardian. Haha. Anyway, what I was going to say was that I used the focus in order to make the rift. And that's not how it works. This is how it works. So that we can walk through blocks and we can look around when we are underground. Also, I decided to make a brain in a jar which makes creepy sounds and looks really creepy, but if you put it next to your research table, you can research Eldritch. Haha. I've done most of the research available to us in Thaumcraft, but we cannot advance any further because we need to unleash Flux and I need to get a primordial pearl. And since I do not have a good infrastructure for Thaumcraft, so further research has to wait. But since we're going on adventuring, I was thinking of making a ranged weapon. So a shuriken will be nice. Of course I'm going to use Nihilite, but I'm not sure if it works with a ranged weapon, but I also found another alloy called Imperomite. And it has a modifier called Hollow, makes your enemies brainless. I like that. I had to go and get some Duronite from a nearby asteroid, but we do have an Imperonite manually Nihilite Dragonbone Shuriken, which has Hollow, Insatiable, Cold-Blooded, Soul Eater, Splintering, and Fractured. And one modifier. We are also going to make this Soulbound, because I don't want to lose it, as well as our sword. And we have a test subject. Are you brain dead? You're not brain dead. So what do you do? I don't know. Let us test this on a zombie and see what brain dead means. He's not moving. So he doesn't move. At all. That's nice. I upgraded the shuriken until it's unbreakable, and I think we are ready to go and see if we can fight a dragon. I know that there is a dragon nearby, and it's an ice dragon in the taiga biome, so let's go and check it. Oh, and by the way, the shuriken does almost 70 bonus damage, and our sword does plus 500 damage, so we should be fine. Yes, he's right over there, and I think he's sitting. So let's go with the sword. These smaller dragons should not have that much health, and he's very friendly. One more hit, one more hit, one more hit, and she's dead. It was a silver dragon. I thought it's white. On episode 1 we found oil here, and I remember I saw a dragon, and she's down there. So we're going there as well. Actually good that she's not flying away, and maybe we can just kill her like this. Are you dead? You're not dead. Come on, dude. Die. Please. She's dead. Our friend decided to jump out of the water to get a cow. Huh. They have fangs. The shuriken does not seem to work on the ice and fire mobs. I shot him several times, but he's still not brain dead. He keeps doing that, so I'm guessing he's not brain dead and he's just being stupid. We kill him with the sword. Are you dead? Are you dead now? Yeah. Anyway, I did not stop here because of the sea serpent. I actually stopped here because I got an achievement which is called Find Riches. And apparently that's an achievement from Railcraft, and you have to find an oil field. So there's 3 of them there. One there, one over there. There's plenty of oil. I was reading on the Dragon Forge, and I have no idea who came up with this font, so sorry. But it seems we have a bit of grind to do. We need blocks of dragon scales in order to make the bricks, and then we need to make a 3x3x3 furnace. So it's going to take a while, I think. But a 3x3x3 furnace? What an original idea. I have a few projects in mind, and most of them require a lot of RF, and if you didn't know, we're not producing that much. This is around 2000 RF, that's 3600 RF, and that's it. So we need to do something about it. Also, if we do something about it, we don't have a central power reserve. Yes, I do have an energy cell up there which holds 50 million RF, but that's basically it. So I was thinking of going with a huge capacitor bank for now, but for that we're going to need a lot of grains of infinity. There is a new recipe for it using fire water, and I was thinking of making a little bit and see if there is an easier way of automating it. The chances of dropping a grain of infinity is far less, but I'm guessing it should be easier than just setting the bedrock on fire. We will see. Well, I got 2 grains of infinity, but I have no idea how I got them. So do you have to like flow? Then you give me grains of infinity, or do you have to stay there? I'm very confused. Well, I guess it has to flow, because I didn't move it and I got another one. Can I make a confession? I don't know what I'm doing. I think we just go with fire starters. I'm not picky. This is going to be the plan. We are going to have a huge capacitor bank here, and I know this is not huge, but they are vibrant capacitor banks and they are extremely expensive to make. And we do not have auto crafting, so it's also very time consuming to make them. And this is why we're actually setting everything up, so that we can have auto crafting later on. But in any case, we have 41 vibrant capacitor banks right now, but we're going to increase it to, I don't know, 13 by 5 by 5. That should give us around 7 billion RF. And then we're going to power it using a big reactor. And down here we have 2 power monitors from Ender.io, which will emit redstone signal depending on how full this capacitor bank will be. So if it drops below a certain percentage, they will kickstart the reactor, and if it goes above a certain percentage, they will turn off the reactor so that we can save on fuel. Because we're mining everything, and yeah, we should be careful. Basically what I was trying to say is that this guy is going to be our central power station, because when we are producing 3500 RF over there and like 2000 RF over there, it does not make sense to hook it up to a flux network or a quantum entangloporter or a dimensional transceiver, because they're not generating that much RF anyway. But if we have a central station, we can do all of those. It's 44 now. I'm not an expert on reactors, but I think a 7x7x3 internally should be more than enough to provide us with all the power we're going to need for the foreseeable future. The question is, do I want it over there or aligned with this one, like over here? Over there it was already a hole, I didn't have to dig. Should I move? It's not going to be the most amazing reactor, but I filled it in with fuel, and let us see how much RF do you generate for us. It's not that bad. 12k, 14. That's actually quite nice. Maybe it will go up to around 17. That's not bad. If you guys have watched Chernobyl, you would know that if we add graphite to the reactor, it will increase the reactivity between the fuel rods and hopefully generate much more RF, and we don't care about the fuel, and their big reactors never explode. For real. Now let us see how much RF you generate. I really don't want to remove those graphite blocks. That actually worked. Why? That really worked. Okay, so this was the easy part. Now let's do the hard part, which is controlling the reactor using Redstone. I know that we can do this using ComputerCraft and open computers, but I just want to basically do it with the capacitor banks and the power monitors. There's no difference, it's just I have never tried it, so let's try it at least once. Anyway, I need to explain to you what I want to do so that if I'm wrong, you can correct me. I know that we have a reactor redstone port, which we can choose what we want it to do. We want to turn it on and off. So we want to turn it on and off based on the amount of RF which is stored inside our capacitor banks, right? Here we have a power monitor which will emit a redstone signal whenever the amount of RF in our capacitor banks drop below 15%, and it will stop emitting redstone signal whenever it goes above 90%. So it will turn off the reactor whenever we have enough power, and it will turn it on whenever we want more power. And here I do have a redstone transmitter from RF Tools, and we need a redstone receiver so that we can transfer redstone wirelessly, and I think right click. Okay, I thought it's with shift. So here's the receiver, and it's not receiving a redstone signal. Why? Here it works. Do you have a range? I don't think so. Now it works. I'm very confused. So are you active? No. When you want to set the redstone port, you should press commit. Now it should work. Yeah, it's online. At this very moment you might be asking yourself, Lash, everything is working. Why the hell do you have two power monitors? The answer to that is very simple. An industrial alarm from World Control. This is really cool. So this power monitor is set to emit a redstone signal when power levels are below 15% and will stop after it's 17%. So basically, whenever the reactor is kickstarting, we will have an alarm. Like so. It's very loud, I know. But it's cool. It's incredibly irritating. Well, it's not supposed to last for minutes. It's supposed to last for maybe 10-15 seconds between the reactor kickstarting and when the power levels reach like 17%. So it should not be that long, but we started from zero, so it's going to take a while. Have I gone deaf? You make a noise. Oh, okay. That's more than 17%, so it turned off. Good. We're going to need to also provide our reactor with uranium, so I hooked up an export bus to an ender chest, and we're exporting uranium, so we just have to hook this one up to the reactor, and then we're fine. This is not the final setup because 20,000 RF is nothing, but we can expand on this and make a few turbines next to it, and I think this guy is powerful enough to provide 2 turbines with steam. But there are other mods which generate RF as well, for instance deep resonance mod, and I have never played with that, so we have a deep hole here, and it's sometimes a mob farm. But I thought maybe we can grow crystals, generate RF, and make something which looks cool. And I also have to decorate this reactor, because like this is just horrendous. Or maybe I just cover it in stone and pretend it's not there. I'm tired of building today. Alright guys, I have a very small project in mind and I thought I'll bring you in. It's a very small project, but I thought since it's fun, we'd do it together. Basically what I need is a very teeny tiny sugarcane farm in order to make paper. I need the paper in order to make enchanted books and also use it for Tomcraft research. I don't need that much paper, but I need a small consistent supply. Anyway, the way that I want to harvest the sugarcane is through mana. We all know that there is an item from Botania called a tiny planet. Like that, right? So if you shoot a mana burst at it, it will orbit around it. Right? Now, if you add a lens to your mana burst, like the bore lens, it will also mine blocks. We just have to wait. Will you reach something? Yeah. Basically what I want is that we will harvest the sugarcane using a tiny planet from Botania. We fire a mana burst and it will harvest our sugarcane. And of course it will not be set like this, so it will be slightly more efficient. I placed the sugarcane on top of Snat so it will grow slightly faster, and I have a lily pad of fertility down there because for testing purposes it will help us if it grows slightly faster than faster. But it does work and this seems to be a good range and it gives me a good yield. The problem is the mana burst only breaks like 6 or 7 blocks. I'm not sure how many, but it has a limitation, so you have to fire it several times. That's not going to be a problem, we are going to have a pulse mana spreader anyway. But I have to change the checkerboard pattern because the mana burst has to come from this central block and we have to just switch the water with the sand. This seems to be a sufficient size and I'm not using any lily pads of fertility because I really don't want that much sugarcane. Anyway, the pulse mana spreader is here and we just give it a little bit of mana, and I also brought a hovering hourglass, which is our timer, one piece of redstone which goes here, and maybe we activate it every 25 seconds. You're aligned, right? I think so. Oh, you need the lens. Lens. Okay, we put the lens on top. And let's go and see what happens. Yeah, 25 seconds is very slow. Maybe 15? Yeah, 15 seems to be much better. Okay, we'll go with 15 seconds. Basically, if we make a vacuum chest and import everything inside our ME system, we are done, right? But I was thinking of making this into a small challenge, trying to automate the production of paper using only magic. I think it would be fun. At least it would be fun for me. For you, I have no idea, but I'm guessing you will let me know. For collecting the stuff, we're going to use a hopper hawk. So we put it here and it will act like a vacuum chest. And then for transporting the items, we are going to use magic mirrors from Tomcraft. So can I put you on the ground? I can. Then we link them. And then we need a hopper. Can I put a hopper on you? Yeah, so if you get sugarcane inside, you should pump it out from here. Yep, that does work. Stop. We are going to have a small structure here which will be our paper mill, and then we will also have a servant or a golem or someone who will deliver us the paper. I have a hungry chest and the sugarcane will go inside, and then I also made an arcane pattern crafter. So if we put you here and set you up, I have to click this to make paper, and then you need a chest. A hopper will work for now. Will you make paper? Yes. Perfect. This is going to be our paper mill slash shop. It's nothing too fancy. It's basically a facade for the machine which we just made, and it's essentially a hut. That's it. Anyway, this part serves no purpose. It's because the roof was very plain and I thought this would make it less boring, and I think it does, but it needs tweaking because it's not the best. Anyway, we have some sugarcane blocks. Inside we have our machine and we have a cash register, some papers, and I brought our first pal, a golem, and he will retrieve paper for us. Where is my thing? So we take the bell and we shift right click. We tell him to bring us one piece of paper. Did you? Thank you so much. He's adorable. Do you do it outside as well? Can you open doors? Or do you get stuck? Yeah, he's stuck. Fine. Do you also go back or do you wander outside? Before we wrap up, somebody asked me in the comments of the last episode that how am I placing down the cakes next to the cake and Morrises automatically? Well, Run on Carpus actually does that, and it places the blocks that you drop on it based on the corresponding block that is one block below it. Not the one which is planted on, just the one which is below it, which is coarse dirt. So whenever it gets a cake, it will place it on coarse dirt, and that's how it works. It does not require mana, so you can use it anywhere. Someone also told me that if I use a mana mirror and link it with a mana pool, I don't have to carry my ring? Yeah, I don't need the ring. Okay. We have a new slot for something. Anyway guys, I think it's also a good time to wrap up the episode. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. Till the next one. Bye bye.